All right, man. Look, so just thought I'd do a little sneak peek, riding around in my hoopty, looking at all these semis around here, man. See, you could be getting your hustle on, man. There's nothing but trucks for sale. There's always trucks for sale, man. All day long. Always trucks for sale. They just waiting on somebody to figure out how to hustle with them. See what I mean, man? I mean, look, some more units for sale right here, man. When I see these, and this one's a buy here, pay here lot, man. That's if you into that type of thing, but regardless of how you trying to get it, you know what I'm saying, how you trying to get out here, when I see these trucks and tractors for sale like this just sitting here, only four words come in my mind: all about the hustle. For long distance shipments, there will be autonomous trailers on the road. These trailers will either be powered by an autonomous unit or they will power themselves with multi-steering axles that have hub motors on each of them. This is the future of over the road. Most semis will be regulated for regional shipments. Regional semis are starting to shift towards electric, alternative fuels, or hybrid powered units as we speak. Given the range isn't too far, this becomes more economically feasible for such a large vehicle. You'll rarely see a modern semi doing long-distance shipments in the future. Besides, there won't be enough Class A CDL drivers for semis in the future. But future over-the-road is actually going to be led by expedited straight trucks, or what I like to call box vans. You see some of them already now. And the good news is you only need a Class B CDL to operate these type of vehicles. And yes, they will be semi-autonomous. So that means that'll cut down on some of your driving time. Your hours won't be as expensive as well because with operating a straight truck, that is an expedited truck, your driving hours will be based on a Class B CDL instead of a Class A CDL. And last but not least, a lot of trucking companies will still be implementing team driving for these type of vehicles like they currently do with the Class A semis. You look out now at the few bits of expedited trucks that are out there right now. They use team driving for those. So this will only grow more in popularity with this type of method. Now, one issue that has not been addressed with road freight is how to haul freight on rough terrain. One solution is to convert some modern semis to run on tracks instead of using their tires, depending on the terrain it usually hauls on. Now, this also is depending on the weather, especially if it snows a lot. Another solution is developing a new type of vehicle altogether. Now, this excludes ice. Hopefully, there will be a more feasible and safer solution than using a modern semi for hauling freight on ice. One can implement a hovercraft or a snowplane for hauling freight on ice instead. Getting back to the ideas for rough terrain freight vehicles. As I said, another solution is developing a different type of vehicle altogether. This vehicle could be called a heavy-duty overlander. The idea of an overlander is not new. And just, I guess, to break down a typical definition, an overlander is basically an SUV or a heavy-duty vehicle converted into a rough terrain vehicle that was meant to last for many days and months off the main road, or it can navigate through rough terrain. The idea of a heavy-duty overlander is a vehicle that can exceed the performance of a modern semi in rough weather or on rough terrain. This vehicle will range in size, from the size of a modern semi to the size of a locomotive or even larger. Let's say a heavy-duty overlander could probably end up the size of an earth mover. In some places, it won't be able to access because it could weigh a hefty 100 tons. Now, in my previous video, I had mentioned about future steam locomotives using nuclear reactors. Now, technically, this could also work for a heavy-duty overlander, because if you got some of these vehicles that are about the same size as earth movers, weighing about 100 tons, it could easily haul around a nuclear reactor. The smallest one weighs about 30 tons and it's about the same size of a car. So no, you could not put one inside of your modern semi. But yes, you could put one inside of a heavy-duty overlander that is around the size of an earth mover, or even one that's about the size of a modern locomotive. Now, one could also make a giant road train out of these heavy-duty overlanders. Prototypes of such vehicles have been made before, but they weren't as successful until now, or at least in the not so far distant future, because the world needs such a vehicle eventually. There are just places that semis and trains, they just can't go, but you still have to get things there. You have to still find a way to ship that freight. Interstates will cease to exist in certain areas in the future, just as a lot of rail lines will cease to exist. So there's just going to need to be a certain vehicle that can get to some of these places. So, there are some of these places for freight traffic that will be like, just the weight requirements for an overlander will be too much. The heavy duty overlander will exceed the weight limit. So basically, a heavy duty overlander, it'll travel mostly on rough terrain, or it could be traveling in rough weather. But hopefully, overall the road has been grooved out to at least make it accommodating for such a large vehicle. In the future, I just see, because of autonomous vehicles, because of other ways of getting things shipped, there won't be a need of a lot of the vehicles that we normally see on a regular basis. A lot of these semis and a lot of trains, all of them will end up on regulated roads. There will be few roads and rails that those type of vehicles will be on. And so, yeah, to boldly go where a man has never gone before, the future of freight on the road will be occupied by these heavy-duty overlanders. So look for them. You'll see them in the future. You'll see them, and they will be quite impressive. Signing out.